Hello again, everyone. We got more chess for you today. This time against another ICC Grandmaster, uh, who went by the handle Chamberlain. I met this dude in Pardubice one year, and I said, hey, I'm Chinako. And he was like, oh, wow, it's funny when you meet someone that you play with all the time. It happens in the poker world. You're like, oh my God, you're the toilet, and you say, oh man, it's been how many hands have we played together? We played so many games. I think he was a Russian grandmaster. He could have been Czech. I wasn't quite sure. One or the other, because I met him in the Czech Republic, right? Part of Bita, which is an excellent tournament. If you haven't played there, um, a funny story was I played Navarra there with Black, and it was in a 6 hour game, and I held a draw, and he tortured me. And I asked him for a draw, and he said no. And then it was clearly a draw, and he said no. Of course, he's Navarra, but he was younger, but he was like 25-74 FIDE, the champion of the Czech Republic at the time. He kept turning me. I said, dude, he kept on going. Finally, the arbiters step in. They're looking at it, and they said, they can't let this American donkey get a draw against the champ. So they torture me some more. And I remember finally he was looking down at the board, and then he went like that, and he stuck out his hand and he gave me a smile. Finally. And what kind of torture that was, man. You know, I was better with Black early. I got to find that game. I don't think I have it anymore. I have to ask David. But man, I was cooking. He made a little mistake. You know these English games where they have a knight on c3 and a pawn on c4, and then they leave the knight hanging. You get to play b5, and they can't take because the knight, he kind of made a little mistake, a little boo boo, and I was better. Then of course I butchered it, and he swung the game, and I was defending for 4 hours. Um, but I just remember that I was very proud to make a draw. But boy, oh boy, the Pardubice is the best tournament. You should go check it out. They do like a roast pig dinner, and I don't eat pork, but they do a roast pig dinner. If you like digging on swine, you should go there because they do this big old fat feast at the end of the tournament with pit roasted pig. Uh, okay, let's get this thing going already. I got Chamberlain here. Okay, Chamberlain's playing white. Now I never play the center. I mean, rarely. Like traditional center counter. Not my cup of tea. But when you're playing online, you should try everything. Don't specialize in anyone. Just try everything. You'll learn more that way. Take c6 because he was bearing down on b7. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this business, you give white the two bishops, and you make a solid structure. You develop your knights. You He went knight e4. You trade. Bishop d6 is very standard. Develop some more pieces, and bring the queen's not doing anything over there anymore, and get out of the way. It doesn't look it's not fascinating or anything, right? It's just kind of normal. G3. This one shocked me. First thing you think of is Bishop G3, but then he's just trying to trick you into doing it because it's not enough compensation. So of course we're not falling for that. But we will bring our pieces in the game. And when he I don't know about a5, but I knew that is traditional to go. If you can get in a4 and b5 and knight b6 and knight d5, the pawns are useful on the light squares because they keep the knight safe on d5. It is difficult to get the expansion going on. What is White's trump in the position? He has the 4-on-3 sort of, right? I mean these outside dudes. I mean it's not quite a true 4-on, but this is the main idea. There's So if we can freeze those down with the light squares and knight on d5, it's difficult to get the ball rolling. Um, so now we have to, I have to stop the checkmate threat there. It was a small threat to h7. We blocked him. And now I think e5 probably the best move for me. Can't take on bishop takes f5 because g6 is very simple. And if he takes, I take with the knight, and then I gobble the light square bishop. Then he doesn't have two bishops anymore. So I think equalish probably a little better, but I went for this move a4, knight d5, and bishop c4. Okay, it's just a classical, well-schooled player. So we'll get out of the man's way, and he develops the pieces. Now it looks a little funny, like I do have this isolated e6 pawn. You would think that he could just jump up and get it, but it's not so simple. I also have f4 coming. And I'm going to get some dark square action going here. f4, he's going to have to play g4. Then maybe some rook f6. It sort of develops very clearly for me, like what I need to do. And I had already visions of a strange plan which gets executed in the game. Rook e4. This is nice just to double the rooks like we talked about. This is very standard idea to put some pressure on white's king. Perhaps some h5, perhaps some queen h6. And we got in the game, we got queen h6 and rook e1, rook f6. If I can get in a queen h6, maybe rook g6 with h5, it could be some pressure against g4. Also, the other one is rook f8. And then I want to dump a knight on e3 with a check. And if he plays pawn takes knight, then when I take back with the pawn, the rooks are bearing down into the position it almost has nowhere to go. I mean, that attack will be too strong. And that's sort of what happened here. Now, in this position, there's probably an inaccuracy by me. Why? Probably had to do something else. I did overlook that h4 is just strong. I will have to kind of move a rook away because he's going to threaten the... It's not clear because I do have a pin when he goes g5, but in this way I don't get the queen on h4, and that is a very key square. So I think him missing h4 here was a major boo-boo. He went king f1, and now I jumped in. I mean, he just put the king on the f line, so it's sort of an open invitation. And then when he went back, I got to stop him from playing h4. And now you see that white is starting to get a little boxed in. Not that I have any major breakthroughs, because the knight on e3 isn't really attacking anything directly. It's just a piece that controls many squares. And also the rook on h1 isn't the happiest rook you've ever seen. I'm sort of feeling pretty good right here, although it's just not clear exactly what's going on. But he went rook h2, and maybe he wants rook g2 just to get this. It's a bit silly, but the rook is paralyzed. So now I get to go and try some attacking business, right? And X-ray the king. And then he gave this away because he thought it was tactically strong to do so. But it's really, really not a good idea. It's really, really not a good idea. Because when I eat the rook on e5, there is a terrible thing that happens. The d file opens. and these bishops are lined up on the d file. So it's sort of a position. It's like a tactical and a positional mistake at the same time. Very talented to find this. Not something you see every day. And now, it just went from a bit squished to dead lost, because when you eat this one is just rook is coming on d1. There's really nothing you can do about it. You say, well, there is pawn takes knight is the only move. So what to do? Well, he did that. Unfortunately, queen comes on e1, which is forced. Then we trade the guys and win this one. Now the bishop on g6 is still hanging, and it is just simply gone. We take this one. We make sure that you have to just take time out and make sure you don't lose. By the way, why didn't I play, instead of g6, I could also go rook f2 and take the bishop on. That was another one. But okay, sometimes there's time pressure and you just see a way to win, and you just do this and make a1 queen. So this is a nice little victory against Mr. Chamberlain. I wish I remembered his real name, but he was I would say he was like a lower tier GM, something 25-20, something like this. All right. Just out of curiosity, let's look at this position where he went rook e4, because I think this is the critical. I mean, critical was really when he didn't play h4. This one, like this move, and I doubled, and like certainly white's better here. I mean, look at these moves. These are hard to find. I mean, the computer, yes, h4 first line. H4 first line in white is definitely better. I would have to play. It wants me to move the rook back to f7 and then g5, queen g6. Okay, so somewhere along the lines here I went a bit wrong. Oh, g5. G5. Oh, queen h4 first. G5 or queen h4. But it thinks that white is like half a pawn, a little slightly better there. So rook f8 was butchery. King f1, double butchery. Knight e3, pretty okay. King e1, it wants him to run to the center. And when we went here, we got this as... Now look at this. Now this is totally inhuman. It's totally inhuman. The machine wants c4 or b3. Good luck. All right, and moving on from here. Rook g6, and now c4 again, or b3. It's just not happening. So the computer's saying, yeah, it's beautiful, but you don't really have anything, dude. That's a bit frustrating. Look, it wants me to pull the knight out via f5. Wow. And on b3, king g8. Okay. It's funny. The computers are pretty funny. All right. So you went rook here, and now it's just gone, right? This was just gone now at this point. Yeah. Minus. There's some hope. Bishop takes e3. Rook d3, king g, king. It's getting worse. But certainly taking on g6 was a new lemon. Okay. Some pressure. We put some pressure on the guy, and he cracked. And that's your job, It's it's kind of a sport. You have to play it like a sport, It's not always going to be the truth. The truth we find later with Mr. Computer. All right, y'all. Have a great day.